Welcome back again, guys, to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Help me get to 1000 subscribers. That is the goal. Like, comment, and share this video. Please, just hit that like button, that like, and punch that your subscribe button, and you ring your notification bell, because I post every day and I can even post again today. So for you to get notified that I have posted, please click on the subscribe button and hit on that notification button so you can get notified. So today we are going to be talking about what Real Madrid must do to for them to get their season back on track from next season, because there is no time to waste. There is no time to waste anymore. Teams are already waking up. And next season is around the corner already. August now, the next season will start already. So Real Madrid need to start finding solutions to their problems before the season starts, because Real Madrid cannot afford to have another bad season. They cannot afford to have another bad season, because looking at the signings Madrid have made recently, Madrid have made 4 signings: Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dean Huijsen, Alvaro Carreras, Franco Mastantuono. 4 signings so far, and they might be looking to add one more signing if Ceballos is still looking to leave. I think one more midfielder might come in, but with 4 signings, Real Madrid must be looking to get back on track next season, and Xabi Alonso must find a way to solve the solution. Now, what is the solution? That is what we are going to be talking about in this video. What is that solution? From the look of that Chelsea game, from looking at the Chelsea game, Chelsea already gave us a template on how to beat PSG, and Chelsea already showed where Real Madrid were lacking. You see, people talk a lot about, oh, Real Madrid does not have a controller. PSG had a controller in Vitinha and they lost 3-0 in the first half. What do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that? PSG have a controller. I keep saying this thing, and I'm still one of those that still want Real Madrid to sign one more midfielder. We still need to sign one more midfielder, but I am still on the notion that we don't necessarily need a controller, because achieving control in a game is not by having a controller profile. It's about dominating all phases of the game. That is what you mean by controlling the game. Chelsea controlled that game from minute 1 to minute 90 without a controller profile. Though they have a controller in Enzo Fernandez, but did he play as a controller? No, he did not play as a controller. He played as an attacking midfielder. James and Caicedo were the ones in that midfield, and Caicedo, who is a DM, was bossing the midfield of Fabian Ruiz, João Neves, and Vitinha, who is a controller, who most Madrid fans are shouting, we need a controller profile. If you don't defend well as a unit, if you don't defend well as a team, your controller will also struggle. If you put Pedri, who is the best controller in world football currently, if you put him in this current Madrid team, he is still going to struggle. He cannot control shit. He cannot control any game. It's not rocket science. It's just normal football. He cannot control games. Haven't you seen Toni Kroos struggle in games where we were struggling to maintain possession and keep possession? Haven't you seen Toni Kroos struggle in games where we were dominated? Haven't you seen Toni Kroos struggle? Toni Kroos, who is top 3 controller of all time. Haven't we all seen him struggle? Toni Kroos is a big miss, and yes, we are missing his profile. But even though we have Toni Kroos profile, if we cannot find a balanced structure for this our system, if we cannot find how to defend well as a unit, if we cannot find how to defend compact as a team, as a unit, we are still going to struggle. Achieving control is not by having a certain controller profile in the team. It's not by having a controller profile. We have midfielders. We have some of the best midfielders in the world. All that just need is for Xabi to fully implement his system. For Xabi to fully implement, his model and pass on information to our players. We have Jude Bellingham, who is the best midfielder in the world. Nothing can gaslight me. We have Camavinga, who is athleticism is out of this world. His verticality, one of the best vertical players ever, who can even also play as a controller and good in pinging passes, ball carrying. We have Fede Valverde, who is one of the best ball carrier in our team currently. And you are telling me we cannot control games with these guys. The solution to our problem is our intensity of the ball. That is the solution to our problem. How do we respond when we are without the ball? How? You saw how Chelsea defended against PSG. You saw João Pedro, coming, making goal line clearances, even despite still scoring. You saw Neto tracking Vitinha, blocking the passing lanes. That is how to defend. Pressing is not by running. Pressing is not by running up and down. If Chelsea had been pressing like mad dogs, PSG would have killed them in that first half. PSG would have killed them because they would have baited them, and then because of their fluidity in the team, because of the fluidity, PSG would have killed them. But Chelsea were smart enough to not fall for that, that fluidity and try to block passing lanes. If you watch Chelsea very well, Chelsea were very, very smart. Chelsea were very, very smart. They were building up in either a 3-2-5 formation or a 2-3-5 formation. Chelsea were very, very smart. Look at them, blocking passing lanes. That is what is needed. You don't necessarily need a controller profile. Is Reece James a controller? Is he not a right back? Is Reece James not a right back profile? Reece James is a right back. He is not a controller. Is Caicedo a controller? Caicedo is just a DM. Even his on-ball abilities is not as good as Tchouaméni's on-ball abilities. And you are telling me we need a controller profile. One of our players can actually act as a controller if we are able to defend well as a team, to conserve energy for our midfielder. So when we win back possession, we will be able to sustain the possession that we've won. That is what is needed for us. That is what is needed. That is why Vinicius and Mbappe need to talk to themselves. Pressing is not by running. I'm not asking them to run. Just be smart enough to block passing lanes. Be smart enough to notice weak links among opposition defenders. Be smart enough to notice weak links so you can pounce on that weak links. Pressing is not by running. You press smart if you are pressing running. And even the type of player we have, which is Kylian Mbappe, you don't give that player much defensive work because of how good he is in transition. So you conserve their energy. Nobody is telling them to run and go and press. You have to run and press. No, you don't have to necessarily run and go and press. Just try as much as possible to block passing lane, notice weak links among opposition defenders, and try to bounce on that weak link, because that weak link is bound to make a mistake. That is one thing I respect Karim Benzema for. Karim Benzema how many times do you see Karim Benzema running like a mad dog pressing? No, but Karim Benzema was smart enough. He was always watching to notice weak links. If he notices that keeper is a weak link, is a shaky keeper, he will try to pounce on the keeper, and it has worked for him a lot of times. You saw him in that 2018 Champions League final against Karius. If he is part of the people that that ended that guy's career, that Liverpool's career. You saw him even before the final. He did something like that against Ulrich in Bayern Munich. Because we faced Bayern Munich that season in the semi-final of the Champions League. He did that because he noticed Ulrich, was a weak link. He did that again in 2022 for Donnarumma. He did that again in that same 2022 to Edouard Mendy, Chelsea's goalkeeper. So Karim Benzema does not press like a mad dog, but he was always smart enough to want to notice, weak links among opposition defenders. He was always smart enough to notice weak links. So he was always targeting those weak links. That is what I expect, that is what I expect from Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe. That is what I'm expecting from them. And then the midfielders too should be smart enough, to be closing the gaps between them and the attackers. Because if you look at how we always are without the ball, if you look at how we are always positioned off the ball, we are structureless. We are without structure. Look at PSG third goal against us. The midfield and the defense were disjointed. There was no link at all. The distance between the defense and the midfield was too far. So why do you think opponents will not cut through us like that? Why do you think opponents will not cut through us like that? Yes, we still need a midfielder, but I am telling you, if you put Pedri and Vitinha in this team and we are not intensified enough off the ball, we are not bringing intensity off the ball, they are still going to struggle. Because look at Vitinha, he struggled even as a controller profile. Why? Because they struggled, to keep the ball. They struggled to bring out passes. Chelsea made sure to trap them. Chelsea did not fall for their own trap. Chelsea used their trap against them and trapped them. And you could see Vitinha struggle. So it is not by Real Madrid does not have a controller. Real Madrid intensity of the ball is what matters, and that is what I expect Xabi Alonso to address in the coming season. That is the actual problem of Real Madrid. So even though Real Madrid gets a metronome, which I want Real Madrid to get a midfielder, because we actually need a profile, our intensity of the ball is what actually matters and is what Xabi Alonso needs to work on the most. That is the solution to Real Madrid problem. Intensity of the ball. That is how to achieve control in a game. Defending as a unit and attacking as a unit. You could see that was what Chelsea did. Chelsea defended as a unit and attacked as a unit. That is how to do it, and that will be our solution next season. This way, if we are doing it like that, if we are defending as a unit and attacking as a unit, one of our players can easily step up to act as a register, which is a controller. You could see sometimes Tchouaméni does it. That's why sometimes I call Tchouaméni a libero and a register. He's an hybrid between those two, because he draws that deep sometimes to act as a defender, and he pushes up when we want to attack to act as a midfielder. So he's a libero. Tchouaméni can act as a register, and sometimes we've seen Adagula act as that register. Why? Because we were maintaining possession, we were in control, we were defending as a unit, and we were also attacking as a unit. That is the solution to Real Madrid problem, and not having a controller profile. That is just it. That is it. Nothing else. And I've been seeing some reports on Vinicius Junior's contract. It is crazy because I don't even know how true the issue is about his contract. I heard he's requesting for 30 million net. For me, all I'm just going to say is we need to understand that football, as much as football is a sporting thing, it is also a business thing. You cannot expect them to just come to an agreement just once like that. So there is going to be he wants more money, which I cannot blame him for. Because no footballer, if you are washed, nobody will rate you again. You saw how when Eden Hazard was washed, the club just terminated his contract. If you are washed, no one is going to rate you. So I will never fault any footballer for asking for more money. And at the same time, this is the wrong time for Vinicius to be asking for more money, given the season he had just had. So I can understand why they have not come to an agreement, which I am still sure they are still going to come to an agreement. It's just the situation of things. He wants more money. Perez doesn't want to give him more money because of his performance this season. So both sides are right. It is now left for Vini to up his performances and then give the club more leverage for them to increase his salary. So that is just it. Like I said, I will not fault any footballer for wanting more money. Because as football is also, a sporting thing, it is also a business thing that wants to make money. It is just like you, an accountant going to work. You are going for the sole, as much as you are going for the sole purpose of working, you are also going for the sole purpose of making money, and you also want your organization to increase your salary. So it is the same thing with Vinicius' case. As much as it is a sporting thing, it is also a business thing. I will never fault any footballer for wanting more money. So that is just it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment and share this video to whoever and wherever. Please subscribe to this channel on my way to 1000 subscribers, and you will not stop getting daily football content from this page. And I will see you again in my next video. Please do well to subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time.